Hello and welcome. I recently went on a samurai kick and had the opportunity to experience Seven Samurai for the first time. I had a great viewing experience and I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts here in this video, so stick around and we'll jump into the conversation. Welcome once again, my name's Austin and this channel is all about digging deeper and going further to better understand faith and film and everything that is in between. If that sounds exciting to you, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any new content coming to the channel. As mentioned a moment ago, I have been on a samurai kick recently. I watched the first of the samurai trilogy from back in the 50s. I have been binging through a samurai anime called Rurouni Kenshin and watching its live action counterparts. And of course, for the topic of this video, I watched Seven Samurai. This was also my first Kurosawa movie, which was incredibly exciting because this is the one I had heard the most about. I also really want to check out The Hidden Fortress and a number of his other movies soon. Now, to get the obvious out of the way with Seven Samurai, I absolutely loved it. Even at 3.5 hours in its runtime, I enjoyed every minute of its story, its characters, its action, its themes, all of it. This movie truly is a masterpiece and could still go toe-to-toe with many movies 60 years later. I'm sure there's almost nothing that I could say that hasn't already been said about this movie, so I'll just share my quick thoughts. Though the movie moves at a bit of a slower pace, I never lost interest in the movie as a whole. There's always something interesting happening, whether it's with the characters and the story, or even simply just in the setup of the shot that we're looking at. There's always some kind of movement or activity happening, and in the research I've kind of done on Kurosawa and his movies, that's very much a staple of his, there's always some kind of movement going on in his shots, and each one is a masterpiece unto itself. You could frame almost any shot in this movie, put it up on a wall, and it is considered a masterpiece of art. The movie never drags at any moment. Even when it's a smaller, more intimate scene with even one or just a couple of characters, I was fully invested in their conversation, what issues they were talking through or working out. There's definitely plenty of action in this movie, but it's not frequently scattered and sprinkled throughout. There's moments of tension that build very well. There's moments of just comedy, which is really fun too, but to kind of lift the mood, because there are moments of this movie that are also very dreary, but like I said, nothing ever drags or detracts from the interest that I have and the investment that I have in what's happening on screen. Each moment and scene adds to the greater story and the purpose of what is being communicated through the film. I could not reiterate enough, this film, from a filmmaking perspective, is an absolute masterpiece. Now, you didn't need me to tell you that, but I just couldn't help but say it. It is epic, yet it is intimate. The set pieces go from grand mountain peaks down to the smallest little intimate, humble village. And all of it is so immersive and draws you in. There is no disconnect, even from the time period of being made in the 1950s, set in the 1500s. I felt no disconnect from the characters from that time range of when the movie was made, even compared to the time period that's taking place. It's all understandable and you feel invested in what is happening. For those who may not know, as I'm about to talk about some of my favorite characters a little bit, the story is essentially the story of the Magnificent Seven, so kind of the original source material for that Western that was made. So it's about 7 samurai who come into this village to protect it from bandits who are attacking. I loved, and I hope I'm pronouncing all these names as accurately as I can, Kanbei's character. He was kind of the leader of the samurais, kind of brings the group together and is sort of overseeing everything that's happening from a strategic and leadership perspective. But Kyuzo was my favorite. He is kind of a more quiet and reserved personality. He's not as bombastic and outgoing as some of the other characters in the film. And his dynamic, especially with Kanbei, the leader, and especially Kukichiyo, I think his name is, kind of the outcast of the samurai group, I really appreciated the time that they took to have kind of each of the main characters interacting with each other in different dynamics and environments in different ways, and they all had a different kind of impact on each other and the greater story that took place. Before I wrap things up, I want to go through some of my favorite quotes from the movie, because man, did this movie have some memorable quotes, and especially for me watching this movie from a Christian point of view, some really powerful stuff. earlier on in the film, when they're still kind of recruiting some samurais, one of the first memorable quotes that jumped out to me is Kanbei is trying to recruit some samurai into their group. And one of the guys, his reason, as he says, for joining this group, he says, it's your character that I find most compelling. It wasn't his skill with a blade, his power of voice and communication. It was his character. He recognized that he had an honorable, just characteristic and wanted to be a part of that. And I loved that quote. And that relates really well with the Christian lifestyle of people recognize when you have that character. It compels them and makes them, at the very least, curious to spend more time with you. That is the reason that one of the samurai joins the group, is for the character and how it compelled him. Now, I mentioned that Kokichiyo is the kind of outcast of the samurai group. They reluctantly kind of let him follow them around. And he wants to help, but he's kind of not really welcome in the group. And he's very much the outcast, as I said. At one point, he brings up the point of why should we abandon our homes to protect theirs, of the other people in the village? And the villagers are kind of debating back and forth of sacrificing their homes that might be on the outlyings of the town in order to protect the core of the town that's in the center. And so Kokichiyo kind of supports that viewpoint of why are we going to leave these homes just to protect these ones when these aren't ours, they're someone else's. And I believe it's Kanbei that responds and says, by protecting others, you save yourself. If you only think of yourself, you'll only destroy yourself. I love that quote because, again, it refers to his character and his selflessness of wanting to help these people because it's the right thing to do and it's for the greater good. And the final great quote that I would like to bring up, I don't remember which of the samurai said this, but I really liked the line. They say, there's nothing heroic about selfishly grabbing for glory. War is not fought alone. I love this because, again, Kokichiyo is trying to be fighting for the fact of just glory. And it's similar to what I referred to in one of my more recent Lord of the Rings videos, where King Theoden is like, let's ride out from Helm's Deep and just go for death and glory. And Aragorn has to remind him that that's not what they're there for. They are there to protect the people. And similarly in Seven Samurai here, he's reminding him, we are not fighting this war alone. If you're going out there by yourself, you're going for your own glory. But we are here to fight together for the good of this community. And I love that theme and how that drives that home. So that wraps up kind of my scattered thoughts on the movie Seven Samurai. Again, I loved it. I highly recommend, if you are able to check it out, do so. I was able to watch it on HBO Max. They actually have a lot of Criterion movies on there and a number of other samurai projects that I want to check out too. So check it out if you've not had the chance. What do you think of samurai movies? What are some of your favorites? Give me some more recommendations because, as I said, I'm on a big old kick right now. So thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to check out each and every one of my videos. If you enjoyed it, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. This is not the last Samurai Talk video that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about Rurouni Kenshin. I mentioned the anime. I want to talk about one of the live action movies in next week's video, and then we'll wrap up the month with a Blu-ray haul. So thank you once again. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you are looking forward to what is next. I'll see you in the next video.